All men aspire to be selected, but few comprehend the reasons for women's decisions. They believe attraction is based on appearance, prestige, or charm. However, it isn't. Energy is the key. An attitude that declares, I don't must be selected. However, if you do, your life won't feel the same again. Most males lose as soon as they begin to compete. They consider other men to be dangers. They observe her interest as money, and they begin acting to win her approval rather than radiating in their own way. That's when they can be swapped out because nothing turns a lady off more quickly than a male. Somebody makes an effort to persuade her to pick him. However, a stoic man is not a competitor. He produces contrast. He doesn't plead for pay attention. He turns into the quiet she cannot disregard. He doesn't pursue confirmation. He exudes confidence, so profoundly that it makes her unstable. Ease with each other, man. As others attempt to win her over, he becomes the benchmark by which she evaluates everyone should. You know, when a woman possesses possibilities, she isn't picking one man over another. She has to decide between different energies. She senses who is needy, arrogant, the one that isn't predictable. Afterward, there's the composed one. When a man doesn't pursue, does not fold or panic, that serenity turns into a mirror that reveals her own ambiguity. That's the reason she thinks of you. When she's in a relationship, the reality is that you don't force her to pick by demonstrating you are the greatest. You force her to decide by demonstrating that you are the one person who doesn't have to provide any proof. The Stoic man is an example of that. Calm assurance, masculine self-control, emotional inaction. He gives her a sense of safe without attempting, wanted without words, and naturally intrigued. And after comprehending this dynamic, you love begins when you stop pursuing it. Pursuing you. Since the time you stop relying on her decision, you become the option. This video will show you the 7. The Stoic values that define a woman instinctively seek you out, despite when she has choices. These aren't tricks, they are changes. We'll discover how being present turns into power, how desire is sparked by quiet, how respect is fostered by distance, and how attraction is rewired at a level by tranquility. She is unable to explain. Await the conclusion, because after you see how women react, when a man makes a decision first, you won't ever have to compete once more. You will simply live in. She will sense your gentle power at all times, whenever she glances at you. A brief reminder before we begin. The actual change doesn't take place on YouTube. It takes place within the community. If these videos have started what's inside, will rebuild your eyes, your entire frame of mind. It's not merely of course, it's a fraternity, a personal area where guys are adept in attracting others, control over emotions, as well as the psychology of strength. It takes a month for you to join. You join for life. In each subsequent course, you will always own the book and lesson. No subscriptions with no restrictions, only one choice that alters your course. If you take discipline, progress, and your goal, click the following link and sign up the community. Sign up once and develop forever. Let's get started. Section 1. The authority of absence of competition. Today's dating scene functions as a marketplace of noise, but few men are aware of its cost. When they enter, they pay. The instant you begin to vie for a woman's, you acknowledge in silence that you consider yourself to be among many. Each and every gesture, each text message, and each effort to impress conveys a single message: I must to be selected. And the awful thing is that the majority of men are unaware they've into that unseen competition. They believe they are displaying confidence when actually they have already given up their worth by attempting to demonstrate it. This is not how a stoic man moves. He does not compete due to the fact that necessitates comparison, and comparison kills genuineness. He is there to declare, I am not competing. I'm in time with me. That serene distance produces a gravitational attraction. While some people are, he's occupied seeking approval, concentrating on alignment, his goals, his values, his tranquility. Additionally, since he is not competing, he does not possess the frenetic vigor of scarcity. He exudes wealth, the silent belief that he is sufficient since he is. When a woman perceives this disparity, something changes within of her. She's accustomed to attention-seeking males who misjudge intensity and overinvest for communication. Then she encounters the man who doesn't make an effort, not with conceit, but without awareness. He's not chilly, he's calm. He doesn't pursue since he is aware that desire originates from dependency, is always the result of insecurity. Rather, he makes room for inquiry to develop. That area is what distinguishes her. Why doesn't he have to prove it? Like the others? That one. The question is where attraction starts. The Stoic man knows that love isn't obtained by hard work. It's made public via essence. You can't convince influencing someone to want you. You are only able to encourage that desire by exhibiting emotional independence is a rare quality. You cease competing when you quit, transmitting a desperate message. Your lack of response turns magnetic as a result of its impulses' inner tranquility. A woman perceives that tranquility and has an innate desire to participate. Although she has choices, none seem as rooted as you. None have the same sense of certainty. No one feels as liberated. Absence of competition does not imply indifference. It indicates selectivity. It indicates that you're not scared to leave if alignment deteriorates. It indicates that your energy is holy and not accessible to every chance that knocks. It implies that your value isn't based on who observes you, but by how well you understand yourself. Additionally, that's the conundrum. The guy who quits competing turns into the man that everyone wants. His composure reveals the mayhem in others. His self-control demonstrates their restlessness. The way he contained himself turns into a craving for her. Therefore, avoid entering the comparison arena. Allow others to battle for fleeting attention when you develop a timeless presence. The Stoic a man does not win because he performs better, others, but as he no longer needs as well. Section 2. The seriousness of presence. Being noticed is not the goal of presence. It's about being sensed. The Stoic man is aware of this fact, profoundly. Loud noises don't give him power, gestures or continuous accessibility. Although from the calm, steady force that accompanies him everywhere, he doesn't seek attention. Naturally, attention bends in his direction. Due to the fact that presence it's not something you do, it's something you become. A lady is able to distinguish the difference immediately. Most males use quiet to sound. They jest too much and chat too much. Excessive amount of explanation, all in an attempt to keep in touch. However, a man sitting quietly while rooted in presence, yet still evoke a feeling in her. The look is powerful. His pauses convey purpose. His composure declares, I'm here to watch, not to impress you. If you're worthy of my peace, that's where gravity starts. The Stoic, the quietness of a guy, produces emotional contrast. In a society that is hooked to motion and approval, his tardiness turns into mysterious. He doesn't say much, but what lingering, he says. He takes his time to react, rather of reacting to each change in energy or tone, and doesn't replicate feelings that are not his own. Rather, he hears not to respond, but to comprehend. Additionally, because he pays attention profoundly, he sees behind what she says into her goal. Most people find that level of knowledge unsettling. individuals not because it poses a threat, but because to its rarity. Additionally, presence is a kind of control. It refers to your mental isn't disorganized, and your feelings aren't determined by acceptance, and your attention is not continuously taken over by diversions. You're fully present here. You mean it when you talk, when you move. It's deliberate. Your energy feels different as a result. It has coherence, which is a type of unseen order that demands notice without requesting it. Women are the most secure, surrounding men who are able to remain motionless without giving way to insecurity, that they are intrigued by quiet. It creates, they are curious about your thoughts, what you've observed and learned to remain this serene. They are lured to your tranquility, since tranquility is alluring in a world of noise of emotion. She might have choices, however. She is anxious while she is around you. System calms down. You turn into the motionless point of the unbreakable in her pandemonium rhythm, to which her feelings begin to wane. The majority of guys make the error of believing performance is presence, that it concerns posture, eye contact, or an assured tone. Those are not roots, they are reflections. Inner order is the source of true presence. You become peaceful, not pretend to be calm. You don't act as though you don't care. You just don't care since you've disengaged from the requirement for results. That distance is what distinguishes your presence is strong. It's not a disguise. Mastery. With so many males in the globe who demand attention and be the one making money, it effortlessly. Allow your quiet to talk. Give your concentration a break. Allow your calm reverberates more powerfully than words. Since being present is not about taking room, anchoring it is key. Section 3. The Dissociation of Emotions Law. Detaching oneself emotionally isn't about apathy. It has to do with ownership. It's the skill of feeling everything without actually being. Nothing owns it. Most males don't comprehend it. They believe it entails being aloof or far away. However, genuine detachment isn't the lack of feeling, it's the existence of command. It's being aware of your feelings doesn't characterize you, and that reacting and responding are two different things. When a man exhibits a lack of feeling and he's not running away, in the Stoic sense, relationship, he's making it better. He's not ceased attempting to dictate how others act appropriately. He has power over his interpretation, their actions. When a female withdraws, he avoids losing control of his anxieties. His tolerance is tested by her, and he doesn't ask for clarification. He just observes. Since the Stoic man is aware of that, feelings are not orders. They're signals. You have read them. You get knowledge from them. Additionally, you only take action when corresponds with your ideals. That's the distinction between the man under the leadership of feeling and the man in charge of his feeling. The first starts to react, needy and erratic. The second turns into unalterable. A female might not be capable of she feels it, but she can't articulate it. That delicate emotional independence that makes her mind quiet and her heart racing simultaneously. A detached emotional state is what distinguishes depth from intensity. The intensity burns quickly, depth endures. The man who reacts emotionally attempts to demonstrate his love, make things right, and look for assurance. The aloof man shifts more slowly. Clarity is not what he seeks. He makes it with his quiet and his norms. His composed handling of the pandemonium turns into the mirror that reveals how others are unstable. At that point, she starts to want for your equilibrium, even if she refuses to acknowledge it. When a female sensations that you can experience profoundly without requiring confirmation, you turn into uncommon on an emotional level. You're not pursuing confirmation. You have inner strength, stability. Your tranquility is independent on how frequently she texts. how frequently she gives, or her current feelings. Most people are afraid of that kind of steadiness, individuals since it is unmanageable. Freedom comes from detachment. It enables you to care, to love without losing oneself, without giving way, to remain open without being managed. It refers to your feelings, serve you rather than enslave you. You can show love without anticipation, drama-free distance, quiet without bitterness. That equilibrium is power, serenity, and invisibility, but indisputable. Most men believe that love necessitates ongoing demonstrating. Only love is known to the stoic guy, flourishes when both individuals are free. Thus, he releases his grip, not due to his fear of feel, but since he won't plead with be sensed. That's what makes him not to be forgotten. Because other men are attempting to hold her focus, he merely keeps his calmness. And she senses something when he does. It's been a while since she felt security in the midst of uncertainty. She stops testing you at that point and begins to show you respect. Section 4. The Art of Unavailability in Subtlety. Among the biggest contradictions of this is the attraction, the less accessible. The more noticeable you are, the more others notice you. Not that you're engaging in gaming, but because you convey a message that most men don't. Your life is one that doesn't center on getting picked. By itself, that energy differentiates you from 90% among the males she is acquainted with. The man who is stoic used the technique of unavailability rather than as a tactic, but as an illustration of inner wealth. He doesn't withhold to control attention. He just doesn't give it to people who haven't earned it. His presence and time are selected, deliberate, and his quiet deliberate. As a result, there is an emotional economy surrounding him. Every conversation, every phrase, every look starts to have significance. When he shows interest, it indicates something. As he retreats, it creates room for desire to develop. This principle is misinterpreted by most guys. They mistake insecurity for shortage. They believe that neglecting or vanishing her will force her to pursue. However, that's not unavailable. Avoidance is what that is. Being truly unavailable is not about running away. It's about staying focused on your objective while giving her the liberty to miss you. You don't disappear. All you have to do is quit going overboard. You make space for curiosity. You bring to mind strongly but kindly remind her that your attention is not a given. It is a privilege. As you can see, women are not attracted to men who are there at all times. They fell for males whose existence signifies anything uncommon. When she understands that you don't respond to all message right away, not due to your not caring, but because you're busy purposefully, she begins to feel something she hasn't experienced in a long time. Uncertainty, and attraction is bred by ambiguity, not the manipulating sort, but the kind that murmurs, "What's that?" Something about him that seems so serene, so in charge of his universe, so different. The subtle art of unavailability is that it's not emotional detachment, it's separation from reliance. You offer without expecting anything in return, and you vanish without regret and go back without "I apologize." Since your life doesn't wait for her consent to start, it's already moving, already completely occupied. You're not the man looking at your phone. You're the one who has objectives to pursue, stuff to build, and tranquility to safeguard. When she detects her energy changes as a result, she begins modifying her timing, her tone, and her pay attention. She begins to wonder what takes up your mind, what orders what keeps you anchored is your time. And the more she muses, the more profound her interest increases. There's no reason for the stoic man to pursue because his silence begs for attention. His deliberate presence turns into his loudest declaration. In a sea of unchanging availability, he turns into an event. She waits for a moment, a calm she desires, a man she finds difficult to contact, yet never stops considering. Due to absence isn't what actual unavailability is, it's worth. Additionally, when you exhibit that, she wants more than just your attention. She desires your time, your confidence, and your presence, which you exclusively provide to individuals who have merited them. The discipline of mystery is covered in Section 5. Secrecy has nothing to do with mystery. It concerns selectivity, the skill of demonstrating depth without complete transparency, of allowing inquiry to become the link that brings her nearer to you. The Stoic man is aware of this automatically. He is aware that when a lady believes she already knows everything about you, the allure starts to wane. Fascination is killed by certainty, and predictability kills passion. Thus, he does not come out all at once, not due to his concealment, but because he respects tempo. He allows others to make access to his inner life. Most men hurry to make themselves known. They disclose too much, their history, revealing their innermost emotions, and let their feelings run wild, all in the intention of establishing a relationship. However, by doing this, they eliminate the stress itself. That link must breathe. However, the Stoic man is aware that manipulation is not mystery. It is mastery of timing. He permits disclosure to gradually come to life, much like the chapters of a you don't want the book to finish. Each and every pause, every stillness, every unanswered details turn into a call to wonder. Being mysterious doesn't mean you're far away. You're methodical. You decide when and what to share. You get it. That genuine appeal is not constructed via full visibility, but by disparity in emotions. She senses your serenity, but is curious about your story. She notices your self control, but detects your ferocity below it. She listens to what you say, but believes there is more to them, that it is dualism that prompts her to consider long after you have departed from the room. Discipline is also necessary for mystery, the self-control to keep quiet when you want to demonstrate your worth, refusing to intervene when the ego seeks approval, to maintain composure when feeling tempted you to clarify, because after you clarify things, you become less capable of interpretation, and where the intrigue lies is in interpretation. Lives. It's not necessary for you to be unreadable, simply leisurely. Her curiosity will take care of itself. When she imagines more and reveals less. And imagination is always more powerful than details. It's evident when you've mastered this. Your statements are significant, therefore, they are not consistent. Your feelings are more intense as they're not shown when requested. What you intend to do feel authentic as they're not hurried. When you talk, she begins to lean in closer. Examine your pauses to see what you. When you remain silent, consider. Additionally, that's its beauty. Your enigma doesn't perplex her. It makes her feel centered. It compels she should slow down and follow your beat. Mystery is not used by the Stoic man to manipulate. He magnifies worth with it. He is aware of the power of presence, but it survives because it is unpredictable. His on-command energy is not available. His emotions are not impulsively expressed, and his focus is not divided. Negligently, she senses his absence because of this when he is no longer there. Not because he's keeping things from you, but due to his memorability. Because in mystery, in the end, isn't about what you conceal. It has to do with what you safeguard. And by safeguarding your depth, you make sure that the person who sees it genuinely merits it. Section 6. The authority of norms. All men who aspire to be chosen must first have the ability to choose himself. First, standards. The majority of men mistake preferences for norms. They believe that standards are regarding the type of woman they are looking for. However, Actually, your expectations aren't about not even her. They focus on you and how you conduct yourself, how much energy you endure, and what sort of tranquility you refuse to lose. The individual who is stoic doesn't demand dignity. His criteria make it he couldn't possibly take anything less. A man who lacks morals turns into emotionally accessible to anyone who gives him attention. He makes errors link for validation and compatibility for chemistry and affection for alignment. Additionally, each time he lowers his standards, he instructs people in silence, ways to devalue him. For this reason, women test guys, not for amusement, but in order to measure the limits. A man who responds to testing discloses instability. A man who maintains his position without getting upset. Value is shown. Rules aren't standards to dominate other people. They serve as guidelines for take precautions. They're the way you express your value without using words. Word, the manner in which you leave incoherence, the way you maintain your composure when prompted, the way that you won't beg for what ought to be reciprocal. All of that demonstrates your identity to the world. You don't must yell it. It's your energy for you. Upon witnessing a man with norms, she experiences an odd combination of curiosity and safety. Safety as a result of his grounding. She is aware she won't control his feelings. Feelings. She is curious because she believes she cannot manage him. That uncertainty brings out the ancient in her. Show respect. And if a woman shows you respect, the attraction naturally intensifies, since respect is the foundation upon which desire increases. The standards of the Stoic man originate from self awareness rather than ego. He doesn't require flawlessness. He just declines to take part in turmoil. He does not pass harsh judgment on others, but he's brutal when it comes to his own limits. When a lady wastes his time, he gracefully retreats. If she acts disrespectfully his attempt, he quietly separates. Instead of outlining his principles, he represents them. Since the time you describe self-respect, you've previously gave it up. Men frequently worry about that high people will be turned off by standards. They will. The point is that criteria remove anything transient so that only the authentic remains. They take out the loudness, the irregularity, and the sentimental turbulence. Peace is all that remains. Peace is also the greatest sensual vitality a man may possess. Thus, give up making an effort to impress. Make an impression by maintaining your balance. Allow your self-control is more powerful than your perseverance. Allow your limits to establish curiosity. Let your composure demonstrate to her what chaos cannot. Give her stability, because when the bar is high, and your presence becomes revered, no longer are you one of lots. You become the person she's subtly against, which all other men are measured. Additionally, and she doesn't pick you in the end because you want to be noticed. She decides you, since you already did not speak. At when everything ends, the allure wanes. For the majority of males, because it was constructed on effort, gestures, words, and performance that sought to win affection rather than living up to it. The Stoic man, however, plays a different role. Game. He doesn't pursue, he adjusts. He is exempt from competition because his he is already separated by energy. Additionally, he doesn't have to persuade her since his she gets all she needs from stillness. To be aware, where others stand, this man bend. You've witnessed the whole discover the workings of calm strength. You started by withdrawing from the competition, not defining yourself by the other men's behavior. Then you created a presence and gravity that doesn't plead for attention but is unable to disregard it. You became an expert at dissociation, allowing emotions are not your slaves. They are your servants. You were skilled at unavailable, instructing her on how to access the The value of attentiveness is sacrosanct. You discovered the practice of insight and mystery, that depth is not shown. It's exposed over time. You established norms that safeguard your vitality, and by they were rendered untouchable. Finally, you changed from being attracted to into power, the platform on which women give up trying to win your approval and begin following your frequency. That's where self-possession is the source of great power. When you stop responding to being selected, rejected, or accepted, you surpass both. You give up trying to win and take the lead. You turn become the emotional support system for others. Look for but are unable to explain. And she senses it at that point. That feeling of serene in your company, that silent assurance that regardless of how many, she only has one man to choose from. A person who doesn't wince, fold, and does not deviate from the norm, because she becomes aware of something uncommon: each other. A man tries to win her over, but you just be yourself. Every other man makes an effort to forecast her feelings. You get it. Your own. All other men aspire to be desired. You're already whole. That's why she returns. Not because she can't figure out your riddle, but because she is unable to locate you elsewhere. The individual who is stoic doesn't must demonstrate that he is the prize. He is a living similar to one. His existence has rhythm, purpose, and as well as weight. He's not inspired by pay attention. He follows principles. He doesn't try to control other people. He aims to become a master of himself. That's what makes him enduring. Presence, not perfection. Not clarity, but control. Consequently, the next time you encounter a woman with alternatives, keep this fact in mind. You don't win by going after her preference. You triumph by transforming, becoming the man who doesn't have to decide to recognize his value, due to the fact that the A woman who really sees you won't ever notice once more in the same manner. Additionally, when she recognizes your true level of calm, not distance, but self-control, she won't desire to get away from it. She will give in to it. At that point, you'll comprehend the Stoic attraction's core. The individual who, the one who puts himself first, is always, she ultimately makes the last decision. Recall, without action, knowledge is meaningless. If you're prepared to put emotion aside and take a purposeful lead, join the community today at thepodia.com/stoiccouple.com. Grow indefinitely by enrolling once.